Welcome to the Wealthy Practitioner Podcast. I'm Dr. Nikki Cottis.
I'm Dr. Alejandro Elias.
And I'm Dr. Gabrielle Manto. Together, we help wellness practitioners build profitable, scalable businesses without sacrificing their health, their families, or their freedom.
On this podcast, we'll talk profit, leadership, and ownership, so your business works for you, not the other way around.
This is the Wealthy Practitioner Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Wealthy Practitioner Podcast. My name is Nikki Cottis, and I am one of the coaches inside of TWP. And today, I want to set you guys up for what is coming in May inside of the Wealthy Practitioner by just sharing some of my personal story with you guys on money patterns, money habits, and money mindset, and how I got to this point in the decisions that I make. So today, we're going to talk about money, but not in the way that you think, because usually I am our strategy, tactical, ABC, XYZ, girl, love me a good checklist. Everybody knows this about me. But today I want to talk to you about the relationship that you have with money and how that actually is shaping everything else that is happening in your life. And I just want to say that I did not grow up poor. But I also didn't grow up rich. I grew up what I would consider to be very just middle class, very much. We took a vacation every year as a family. I always had new clothes for school, but we didn't get anything that we ever wanted either. And when I was 15, what felt like overnight, everything in my life had changed. And my parents got a divorce, we lost our house, and it truly just felt like to 15-year-old Nikki, that everything disappeared in one day. Now, as an adult, I can look back and I can 1000% see and understand that it wasn't overnight. It was this slow burn of bad habits by particularly my father, and they just all caught up over time. And so I'm not going to give you guys all the tea on my dad and why we essentially lost everything, but I do want to make it clear that this money issue had nothing to do with my mother, and that we were all just kind of victims on the other side of that. And so as a 15-year-old, I didn't understand any of it. And what it made me think, though, and believe at a cellular level, is that you can lose everything in one single moment. And that belief truly followed me all the way into adulthood. So I worked 2 jobs when I was 15. I started working 2 jobs, and then I went away to college. I still worked a job at Champ Sports selling socks, shoes, and insoles. And guys, I was also really good at it. If you were at the last pop-up, I talked about how that was really where I learned to sell. And I got commission for selling those things. So it was really motivating to me. And so I started making some money while I was in college, but I spent it literally as quickly as I made it. And it's because no one ever talked to me about money. I had no plan, I had no structure, and I literally had no idea what do I actually do with money. I just thought I was supposed to spend it all on clothes on the way out of the mall or on food and going out with my friends. So no one ever taught me how to just manage it or how to, most importantly, trust myself with money. And if you guys have been listening to this podcast for a while, you have probably listened to the episode on where I had my identity stolen by one of my ex-boyfriends, all of my money, my credit, all of it. And so there's a whole separate episode on breaking that down and what happened to me, and honestly, just how I BDQ'd my way out of that whole situation. But when I was thinking about this podcast episode, it was just a reminder during that time of the beliefs that I already had, because someone literally came in and took everything away from me. And again, what felt like overnight, even though it was patterns and habits that slowly led to that happening. It was one day that I realized everything was wrong and everything was just gone. And so that really made me feel like, again, deep down, that anything and everything could just disappear at any second. So when I first had my business, I thought that way. I would look at the schedule and we would have like hundreds of people on the schedule. And I think you guys know I built my practice really, really fast. I didn't do it the right way. My OVA was literally crap, but we were always really busy. So I had like a a really high volume practice, seeing a ton of families, seeing a ton of people. And I would like look at the schedule and be like, what if everybody quits tomorrow? What if like I lose everything that I've built? And so if you guys own a business, I'm sure you can resonate with that feeling of everything feels like it can just disappear. At any given moment, every single patient is just going to quit all at the same time. They're all in cahoots with each other. And so when I started making real money inside of my business, I was still operating from that same belief. And so there was a season, and honestly, it was not even that long ago, where I was making really good money, but I was spending just as much as I made. It was like, it didn't matter what the top line revenue number was. The amount of money that I had left over at the end of the month was almost exactly the same. It was like just literally spending exactly what came in. I would just let it go out as quickly as I possibly could. And I just told myself that that was okay because I was still paying my bills, so did it really matter? And at least I was the one who was spending it. No one was taking it from me. And so I guess on some level, it just made me feel like I was in control. But it was like literally the opposite of control. I was living in fear. I was truly living in fear of just learning what to do with this money. I was in fear that it could just disappear at any time, that everyone could quit my practice, that everything that I had worked for would just be gone. And so I had to rewrite all of my beliefs about money, and I had to learn how to become someone who actually felt safe having money. Because when I watched other people with money, my experience with it was that once you have it, it is gone. It is gone very quickly, and it can literally uproot your entire life. It can make you move out into a tiny house from a big, beautiful house with your mom and your brother, and your sister stay with your dad. It can literally change everything in the blink of an eye. And so I needed to learn how to not just make money, but I needed to learn how to keep money, hang on to it. And so seeing money in my bank account just made me feel like, oh, well, better go buy something, better go spend it. And so what I have worked on over the past several years is just being able to see money in my account and not immediately feeling the need to move it, spend it, or even justify why I'm allowed to have it. And so I had to rewrite a lot of what I believed. And it's that money doesn't just disappear overnight. It follows patterns. And one day I realized that I wanted my patterns to be something that I could teach my daughter so that she knew how to hold that money and how to receive and also how to make money. With feeling proud of it, right? Like making her know that she can have what she wants and also how to work for it and all of the things that come with money beliefs that nobody ever took the time to teach us, especially me. Nobody ever taught me that. And I just wanted to believe that I could trust myself to make good decisions with money. And so safety with money isn't about how much you have, it's about who you are when you have it. So who do you become when you actually have it? And that is how I started operating day to day. Y'all know I love numbers. You know I love stats. And so I started looking at my numbers and stats daily, and not from a level of panic, but from a level of decision making. I started checking my bank accounts daily, sometimes multiple times per day. I also started to learn and look at how to invest money, and also checking that very consistently. But also, if you guys invest any money in the stock market, you know it's like up and down very dramatically and drastically, depending on world events and what's going on. And so I also had to learn that even if it's up one day, doesn't mean it's going to stay there. And when it's down, doesn't mean it's going to stay down either. So I truly started to stop making emotional decisions. And I started just looking at data and making decisions based off of that. I stopped trying to make my sense of safety to how fast I can move it, instead to how fast can I keep it, and how can I continue to make good decisions and be a good steward with the money that I've been entrusted with. And so most people think that making money makes them feel safe, but it actually doesn't work like that. It works the opposite way. You have to feel safe with money first, or you will subconsciously push it away, spend it, or avoid looking at it or thinking about it altogether. And so so I believe that I literally have changed the trajectory of my family's future by rewriting old and bad money habits and patterns that were so ingrained in me that I didn't even truly know that I had. And I also really want to give credit where credit is due, because Stephanie has literally single-handedly helped me rewire my beliefs about money and completely changed the way that I view and that I hold it. And that is not an exaggeration. One day I cried to her about how I was making such good money, but spending it. And so she had a real come to Jesus with me. Like, let's get to the root of this. Let's figure out why you're actually doing that. And so uncovering a lot of these issues that made me spend the way that I did or act the way that I did came to the top. And then she literally helped me work through this. So thank you, Stephanie, for changing my money mindset and helping me rewrite the patterns that I am working so hard to pass down to Hazel. And if you guys want to learn how to rewrite your money habits and patterns, great news. The month of May is all about Money May. And inside of TWP, we are hosting a mini program called Gold Mind. That is with a D. It is a play on gold mine, because you need to have a gold mind, your brain, to have a gold mine. And Stephanie is going to be teaching 5 days live, 5 days in a row. I don't know that she's ever done that 5 days in a row. So this is going to be really awesome, because it's like the momentum is going to just keep building and keep giving us clarity on how to get to that next step. But it's going to be focused on your money mindset, the patterns, and the beliefs that are driving your financial reality. So this is less of a strategy session that you'll get with Steph. It's more focused on the beliefs underneath of what you're holding on to. Someone asked me last night, like, how would you explain Gold Mine? I was like, man, Steph's mini programs to me are hard to explain, because it's literally so mindset focused with some strategy and tactics like just weaved in. And it's always perfect for like whatever you need. It's always literally perfect when you show up and receive exactly what you need to. So that program kicks off May 18th and runs that week, May 18th through the 22nd. And you can sign up using the link below in the show notes, or you can go to my Instagram. It's Dr. Nikki Cottis on Instagram. And that link is in my bio. So make sure you guys check it out. Make sure you guys sign up. If you guys are inside of the mastermind already, you already have access to this. And so get in there, get in the discussion board, get the community involved in what we are doing, because Gold Mind is one that you are not going to want to miss. So make sure you're following the Wealthy Practitioners on Instagram so that you don't miss anything with what we are doing in May and everything that is upcoming. I'm so excited that these things are happening and that you guys all have an opportunity to tap into Steph's genius of how she not only makes so much money, I mean, truly, respectfully, she makes a lot of money. And she's going to teach us not only the patterns and beliefs that she had to do that, but how she holds that money, which again is the most important thing. All right, guys. Well, if you liked this episode, please share with a friend. If you know someone who needs to join Gold Mine, please send them a link to join us. We would love to have them in there. All right, guys. We will see you next week. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Wealthy Practitioner Podcast. If you want to connect with other practitioners just like you, be sure to join our Facebook group at The Wealthy Practitioner, and be sure to follow us on Instagram. See you next week.